Alright guys, this is part 2 to my In Search of the Great Work with Streebo vlog, part 1 that I just posted because YouTube just went ape shit on me and cut me off. Apparently it's because I have downloader helper or video downloader add-on installed on my Firefox, so I don't know. I'll get it taken off earlier, but it's giving me problems with this recording. So anywho, I was about to launch into my thoughts on how I enjoyed both the retelling, remake, reimagining, resequel, whatever you want to call it. There's a new word for you, resequel. Texas Chainsaw 3D and Evil Dead 2013. Even though I enjoyed them both, I consider them part of the mediocrity because they are remakes. Now, sometimes a remake breaks out, I think, and becomes something more. Like maybe the Maniac remake. It was really good. Really, really good. But anytime we're dealing with a remake, it's usually mediocre at best, mediocre to good. We rarely get those very, very good and great remakes. It just rarely happens. I mean, two or three that are at least universally hailed as great remakes. Cronenberg's The Fly, John Carpenter's The Thing, maybe The Blog from 1986. I don't know how universally. uh, the horror Dracula. What's the name of the first one? I get all those names confused. I think it's Curse of Dracula. Um, no, that was Frankenstein, Curse of Frankenstein, and Curse of the Werewolf. See, I have no idea. That's what's confusing about it. But then again, so is House of Frankenstein and Son of Frankenstein and all this and that. But I think that's part of the symptom of the source of mediocrity. We get these remakes, we support them, we pay to go see them, and then that's all we get. The original films are really eschewed and pushed to the side and avoided. You know, if it wasn't for art house theaters, the Draft House in North Carolina, we have the Carolina Theater. We've got the local Charlotte Crown Point Theater, which hosts the Back Alley Film Series screenings every month. If it wasn't for these kind of theatrical outlets, the true original independent films would never be seen, no matter what genre, whether it's horror, sci-fi, martial arts. At the Back Alley Film Series, for example, I know they recently played Tai Chi Zero, Brandon Cronenberg's Antiviral. It's always a mix of just good contemporary, transgressive, underground, independent, original cinema. Luckily, there are fans that recognize that and seek it out, but it's not fans en large, en masse, so to speak. Return of the Blue Moon, which, by the way, if you're watching this video first, this vlog section first, for some reason, this is part 2. You got to go watch part 1 over there. This is a post-work rambling vlog where I'm talking about mediocrity. And I know I called it a rant. This is a rant, but rant always implies anger. It's funny. This is a discussion or a monologue from me to thee. So just sit back and buckle in. It's better than most people's lame ass rants anyway. But these are observations. I'm diagnosing symptoms and problems here, and at MVP we are cooking up the cures. Take a dose of Tales from Mutantville and call me in the morning. I would say on whole, though, the fans don't want to support independent works, again, because they want familiarity, which breeds remakes and resequels and mediocrity. Why are these mediocre even if they are good or quality remakes, like even the Fright Night 2011, which was a fun film, well made, well acted throughout, looked great, dodgy CGI at the end, but in the end mediocre because of its derivative nature to the original from 1985, which was original in its time, in its day. So then the fans, they want the familiarity, they want the resequels, but they don't want the originality. They're frightened by it. You know, I mean, they weren't beating down the doors to go see Antiviral at the Back Alley film series. I mean, it was pretty full theater, mind you, but I mean, people aren't lined up around the block because that's not what people want. They want the next Big Mama's House, or you know, all apologies to any Medea fans out there. You know, but Medea, crack whore Medea, whatever you would call it. That's the name of the next one. They're all they're making money, so kudos to them, but mediocrity. And the problem is not just the fans or just the studios that want the pre-makes and the resequels for the built-in audience, okay? The problem is also the filmmakers, the independent filmmakers even. You have a guy like Alexander Aja, which had a fantastic debut film, High Tension, Hot Tension, Switchblade Romance, whatever title you know it by. And then went exclusively into resequels. Hills Have Eyes, Piranha, you know, what have you. I think Mirrors was even him, and that was a remake of a Japanese film. So, okay, but then also at the independent level, what do we have? We have independent filmmakers that are quote unquote remaking, updating public domain films, and trying to take advantage of those brands. I won't name any of them because I have a lot of friends that are doing it, but again, lending itself to mediocrity because they are not challenging themselves to continue the quest for the great work. In part one, I mentioned the awakening. You have to realize at some point that it's not about doing the Spider-Man fan comics. It's not about doing the Friday the 13th fan films. Because if you really love those characters, those stories you read when you were young, the only way you can truly repay those characters is to carry on the tradition by creating something new. You have to create the next Friday the 13th. It has to be something new. It can't be Friday the 13th. It can't be a resequel. It has to be new. And its expression, and if its expression is unique enough and different and new and unlike a Friday the 13th fan film, then you will have finally repaid that debt, at least as an artistic individual. I can't speak for the viewers out there, people that just watch, or the blogger critics, the blog critics that just watch and criticize and don't actually do, of which there are quite a few out there, which I don't mind. I think everybody's entitled to their opinion. I just think too many of them wallow in their own bias, and they're unnecessarily nasty when they don't need to be. And then they also feed the fans of mediocrity by seeking out and accepting these resequels or mainstream bullshit adaptations and ignoring, you know, independent works. Or, you know, some of the blog critics might focus on just works of the past and nothing contemporary, as if the genres were dead, no matter which one they were working in, whether it's, you know, horror or science fiction or superhero movies. just complaining about whatever state it's in today and bemoaning, the loss of the past, instead of looking around today and finding, where is that new thing? Which way is it coming from? Which is part of the awakening, the realization, at least hopefully as an artist, as a true artist, in search of the great work, in search of that next gem, the next unseen masterpiece, just waiting to be created, that until the moment that you made it, it had never been expressed in this world before. And hopefully it will find an audience, reach them in one way or another. Touch them, challenge them, change them, frighten them, make them laugh, entertain them for a few hours. But there are those times, those rarest of moments, when there is a synergy between the work and the artist and the audience, and it happens on an individual basis, and they get it, and it touches them, and they get it. They understood what you were going after, and that is what it's all about. That's what it's about, when they get it. And you realize that you can reach people, that there are people who do want good things, they do want different things, but it's the whole en masse that does not want the different. Independent filmmakers are not celebrated. They are not universally welcomed in any genre expression. I've noticed on horror forums, there might be, independent filmmakers might be quote unquote welcomed and allowed to roam around, but it's nothing to exalt or even partake in. And I have like zero respect for blog critics that don't review any kind of independent work. Zero respect for you. You are a discredit to your profession, the profession of the true critic, whose responsibility is to help discover that new expression, find it, and let people know about it, point them in the direction and say, hey, here's something new, something original. You haven't seen it yet, and it's going to speak to you. Have go check it out. Perfect world, but no. Therein lies the rant, my friends. Therein lies the rant. The fans don't want that. The blog critics don't want that. The podcasters don't want that. The convention owners don't want that. There are a few that support, the indies and give them a platform. They're out there. Definitely North Carolina, the Mad Monster Party. Kentucky, you've got Fright Night Film Fest, Fandom Fest. They at least, they support the indies. They support the people. They give them opportunities. They give the artists opportunities to share their work with the audience, to find an audience. And a lot of awakenings they have to go on. A lot of awakenings. But that's the challenge, and that is the quest. The continual search for the great work. And that's what it's all about. You never know where it's going to come from, and it has to come from inside. It's one for everybody, none for everybody. And some people put out 2 and 3, 4 and 5. No idea where they come from, where they're going. They just come from within, and they have to be individual expressions, not resequels, not fan films. I'll close out with a story. I'll share the dark side of Streebo. I frequently go to a lot of message board forums, and one I go to is the IMDb, and I will almost always watch and critique uh, films for people if they post them. You know, they post a link to it and they say, hey, check out my movie, my reel, my trailer, whatever. I'll go and watch it and critique it for them. And I ran across one that said, tell me what you think about my movie. Watch it online. I was like, okay, well, I'll click on it. And I click on it, and it's Friday the 13th, Blood on the Moon, Part 14. Yeah, something like that. It's Friday 13th, blah, blah, blah. You know, flim, flam, flarm. I can't remember all of that because it didn't matter because it was a fan resequel. The worst of all kind. So I start watching it, and I think, okay, well, already you're doing a fan film, so you lose points there. I understand that you just want to do fan films for fun. You know, I've got friends that have done Star Wars fan films. It happens to everybody, I guess. But, you know, when I was a kid, I did my Spider-Man comics. But I'm watching it, and it's like John Q. Smith's presents. No, it's a John Q. Smith film, Friday the 13th, blah, 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 Blood on the Moon, Flim, Flam, Flarm, 14. And I watch it through, and it's a decent looking Jason Voorhees. I'll give him that. It was a cool little costume, but you know, of course, the camera work was horrible and the acting was horrible, and there was no real plot. This is Jason appears to kill some people. They kill him, chase him off, whatever. He goes back into the lake. It's over. But I was really mad about the way that John Q. Smith put his name in front of Friday the 13th and never gave any kind of credit to, you know, anybody else, Sean S. Cunningham or who's the guy that did the second movie? I'm blanking on it now, but you know, gave no credit to the original creators or the writers, and just put their name in front of it. And I thought, and I told him, I said, look, you should, first of all, you should be hung for even making this movie, but to have the audacity to put your name in front of Friday the 13th, you didn't create it, and you don't credit the original creators, you should be hung, period. Because, you know, it's art. It's an artistic crime. It really is. It really is. To literally put your name on somebody else's work like that. You know, you didn't create Jason. You didn't create the concept of having a slasher film based on Friday the 13th. You didn't create the look of those characters or even the tropes or the carrying out of those actions of what makes a slasher film. You know, so therein is where the artists fail, and I see it all around me. And I see the ones that are blinded by it that may think of, you know, being led by the best of intentions, but I just don't see it. I don't see it. You know, I hope I can sell out one day for $5 million. I'll do a remake of Night of the Living Dead or Dawn of the Dead or Halloween or Evil Dead or, you know, whatever for $5 million. But not till then. I'd remake any of them though. Psycho, bring it on. Bring it on. I don't care which one it is. But as an independent filmmaker, we can't lose sight of the goal off in the distance. That great work. The great work. Oh, before I go, I'm going to share something with you. The first version of a new theme song for MVP Mutant Radio. Hopefully this isn't too blaringly loud, especially after I've been whispering through this whole thing. Yeah, check it out. Could you understand that? You'll get to hear it again on the new show. which, if everything goes according to plan, I'm going to get out to see Star Trek Into Darkness. Finally, I'll review it for Mutant TV. I'll review it for MVP Mutant Radio. All will be right. Hopefully, I'll have some guest hosts join me to talk about William Shatner's upcoming appearance at the Fandom Fest in Kentucky and our MVP's trip there. It'll be our fourth consecutive trip to the Fandom Fest. So, should be good times. Good times. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I hope I didn't bum any of you out. I hope I didn't disappoint any of you that came expecting an angry rant. Angry rant. I gave you something different, so hopefully you'll think about it a little bit. And if you have any kind of feedback, let me hear it. Help me grow and learn, just like a good artist should. So anyway, thanks for watching. This is Streebo. Find me at mutantbuild.com. See you next time, guys.